Hey, welcome everybody to the Side by Side Business Podcast. We are Larry and Sue, and we are your host. And today is episode number 33 of the podcast. Um, and I thought this would be a really good one for us to go back and kind of complete, um, maybe more complete the topic that we discussed a couple of episodes ago on episode 31.
Yeah, back in 31, we talked about the family mission statement.
Right. So hopefully you had an opportunity to really put that into practical use. And, because the steps we gave you, it seems too simple.
It is simple, and simplicity is where the magic happens.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
The best things tend to have a pretty simple base.
Yeah, absolutely. So today what we're doing is we're taking that the next step, and we're saying, we've entitled this like creating your own filter system.
Yes.
Right. And it's a filter system for ideas, because we started off in episode 31 and just said, you don't say no often enough.
Correct.
Because most of us don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're going to talk about today is using that family mission statement to filter ideas and opportunities through it to see if it is the right idea at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Both of those are super important.
Yeah, they're crucial because everything looks so good all the time.
Well, many things do. I mean, we're going to get into it, but shiny object syndrome and all that. This will help you avoid that.
So this will be super practical and super real life. We're going to share our family mission statement that I don't know when we first developed this.
Oh, we first developed this like 25 years ago, maybe longer.
Mm. I feel so old.
We're not old, we're young.
Some of the people watching and listening, maybe our family mission statement is older than them.
Oh, now I feel old.
Yeah. Mission accomplished there. Mission accomplished. See what I did there?
Oh, I see what you did.
Okay, so we'll share our family mission statement and then some exact real life circumstances of how we used it to determine whether our answer was yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our purpose this is our mission statement. Mm-hmm. Our purpose as a family is to, 1, grow closer to God as individuals and therefore closer to each other.
And number 2, grow in wisdom and use the gifts, talents, and abilities that God has given us to fill areas of service in the church and our community.
And then number 3, lead children and others to Christ by being a good example of what a godly family looks like.
And 4, serve married couples by encouraging and challenging them to have a one-flesh marriage that demonstrates Christ's relationship with his church. Now,
pretty simple.
It really is. It's 4 statements, and those 4 statements have been a fantastic guide for us. Now, you should know, I think we mentioned this before, this is not the same one that we wrote 25 years ago or longer, and but it has evolved from that one, and it has always remained 3 to 4 sentences, 3 to 4 statements, and that is really all you need. I mean, you think about the 10 commandments, there's only 10 rules.
That's true.
It's pretty simple. So your family mission statement doesn't have to be complicated either. Now, we wanted to talk about some real life situations that we have had and how we have used our family mission statement as a filter about how do we respond to some of these opportunities that have come along for us.
And honestly, we could probably come up with dozens of ideas or examples, but really I just picked 4 that I could think of. Some of them were pretty recently.
Yes.
All right. So
let's talk about what those were. One was an opportunity arose for us to be interviewed on a podcast.
Yes.
And they were a little sneaky about how they did it because they wanted Christians to come on their podcast, but we did a little digging and we discovered that this was a podcast that they enjoyed bringing Christians on and then challenging them strongly on their faith and their belief. So, they weren't very honest about why you were coming in. So that was one thing that he wanted to dispel the Bible and bring on Christians to do it. And so that was one opportunity that arose. Another opportunity that arose a while back, our pastor asked us to teach a Sunday school class on marriage. And he wanted us to have it aimed at married couples. And the purpose of the class was to strengthen marriages in the church, because we were seeing some cracks develop in relationships in our church. Our church had experienced a couple of families who had gone through divorce, and we wanted to do all we could to help that not happen again. Another one, someone asked if Larry can give them a ride to the airport in the middle of the day on a random Tuesday. Okay, that was another opportunity that arose. And then another opportunity was Larry got offered an opportunity to go back to a 9-to-5 job. So we read you our family mission statement. You may already have an idea of how we handled these things, but let's walk through these one by one and see, how did we use our family mission statement as a filter to determine what our answer should be in each case?
Yes. And part of the purpose of these examples is for you to see that, like, some of them are really kind of what we'd consider to be small things, and some of them really big things.
Yes.
Anything from just spending a few hours, just tap the microphone.
Hopefully our editor can take care of that, but sorry if you heard a bang.
But some of these would just be like a half a day. Out of our schedule, and some would be a completely different career change. So obviously some fairly significant differences in these opportunities here.
Absolutely.
All right. So opportunity number one.
Yes.
And that was to go on that podcast of the guy who was really just setting us up. Yeah. So the answer to that one was no.
Yeah. Which
not going to do it.
We're sure all of you got that right. You knew what we said to that one.
And I think this really speaks when you go to our family mission statement about what would it be, number 2 there?
Yes, grow in the wisdom and use the gifts, the talents, and abilities that God has given us to fill areas of service in the church and our community. 2 fits. I think 3 might fit even better.
Okay.
3 says lead children and others to Christ by being a good example of what a godly family looks like. So,
and you know what? Why I said 2 is because I was just thinking about. Like, okay, we do defend our faith, and we should be able to defend our faith, and we want to defend our faith. But that is not a specific gifting of ours, of apologetics. We know a lot of people that I'd be like, go for it, brother, go for it, sister. Because they would be able to walk in cold and really be able to do a good job of it. So I'm not saying that we wouldn't ever do something like that, but not now, and not for this purpose, not for this particular situation. If somebody wanted to have an honest discussion.
I was going to say, it's not that we never defend the faith, because we do. We do have discussions frequently where we are defending the faith, defending our doctrine, defending, what the Bible says. But this particular thing, it wasn't a good faith thing. So it was easy for us to say no. No.
And just a little bit of research, and even like, in some ways the host was being dishonest, and in some ways I was like, okay, now that I've listened to a little bit of what he did and went back and read the description, I'm like, okay, I could kind of see where he was not being completely dishonest, but it was still being tricky. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely.
So no, we ain't going to do that one.
Okay. So now the second one was our pastor asked us to teach a Sunday school class on marriage.
Yes. I'm giving everybody a chance to answer at home.
I already know if they've been listening to our podcast for a while.
Yes. And so this one is an absolute yes. And I even put capital YES, because this just lines up so well with who we are. It does line up with our gifts and talents and abilities, our passion. So like number 2, number 4 of our mission statement, it just lines up perfectly. We tell that story fairly often. That's, at the beginning, I said to the pastor, we will support you, we will help you, we'll be behind the scenes, but he really wanted us to be out front with it rather than the paid staff pastor doing it. And then it just made it super clear for us, like, yes, we're going to do this. And we did do that. We did teach, I guess, 3 different, they're not quarters. We do it like trimesters, I guess, right? At our church. So for 4 months. So we've taught for an entire year. 4 months at a time, 3 different times. And all things marriage. We even taught the marriage class for the singles in the church, because you don't get an instruction book. I mean, the Bible does give us a lot of instructions when it comes to marriage, but we're like, let's get some real practical things on how to prepare young people
Yes. Mm-hmm.
for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
That was really good. Okay. And
The third
then
one.
the third one, being asked to give a ride to the airport on a random Tuesday.
Okay. So this one honestly took quite a bit of thought and
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit of kind of going back and forth on it because I know that he asked me because I've got a random Tuesday available most weeks because I'm an entrepreneur. And this
Well, the real thing
Mhm.
is that you're an entrepreneur, so you can set your own schedule, right? So you're free to help other
Right.
people all the time, right?
Right.
That's kind of the thought that non-entrepreneurs have. If you're an entrepreneur, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to that whole kind of meme about like what other people think we do.
Yes.
And I sometimes I think people think we're just sitting on the couch and eating chips all day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know that this guy is a pretty good friend. I think he had a good idea of what we do. He obviously didn't mean any harm
Oh, absolutely
or
not.
any disrespect
Absolutely
at
not. He
all.
just assumed that you would probably have the time available.
Yes. So in this case, really the answer was maybe, or under the right circumstances, or
Mm-hmm.
if nobody else can do it. All right. So I
Right.
don't want to be a jerk. I don't want to leave my friend hanging.
Right.
I know he would do the same for me if he had the opportunity.
Absolutely. And if you read our mission statement, number 2, it
Hmm.
seems like, well, this might help us fill number 2, which
Yes.
is to fill areas of service in our
Right.
church and community.
Mhm.
So it could be that.
Yes.
But
But in that specific situation, I thought of somebody else who loves to drive, who has like a lot of free time
mhm,
available. This person is semi-retired
mhm,
and is a mutual friend. And I said, "Did you think about so and so?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I should just ask him." And then I said, "If he can't do it, let me know." So I became the backup
right.
in this
Mhm,
situation.
mhm. Which I think is completely appropriate because you're
Yes.
kind of, you made a good suggestion
Yep.
and you also put it in the Lord's hands. Like, if this other guy can't
Yes.
do it, then I guess that means that I should, and
Right.
totally willing to do it
Right.
if that's what needed to happen.
And I will say, in other circumstances or other times when I was asked, I did go ahead and do it, and
Mhm.
I turned those miles into business miles.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I also I remember at least one time of taking one or I think maybe two of my kids even came with me
Hmm.
for that. So then it became like this win-win-win thing. I took
Yes.
them to the airport. I got to spend the time with, like, my kids got to spend the time with this person. And then after we dropped them off, then my kids spent time with me.
Hmm.
And then we did some sourcing or something for the business.
Hmm.
And like again, those became business
Right.
reimbursable miles.
Right.
So
Hmm.
there's times where you can get creative and say like, hey, I was going to go do these errands on Monday. I'll go and do it on Tuesday after I
Hmm.
drop this person off. And
Hmm.
so it can be that type of a thing.
Absolutely. So this is one of those things that it's not like just a cut and dried, it's
Mm-mm.
always this or it's always yes or it's always no. It
Right.
depends on the nuances.
Right.
So, yeah.
Again, I don't want to be a jerk.
Right,
And we don't
exactly.
want you to be a jerk. So.
Exactly. And then, okay, the fourth opportunity
Hmm.
that we lived through was
Yeah.
Larry was offered a 9 to 5 job. Go back to corporate world.
Yes. And that was actually during a time period. This is a number of years ago where we were really struggling financially.
Yes, we were.
The business was not in a great place at the time. And so this one was really tempting. But the answer ended up being no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, in the right season, with the right opportunity, that may have turned into a yes. I would say that the season was right in some ways because we were struggling financially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as I talked to this potential employer, it started off like it
Oh,
was going to be
yeah.
really flexible.
Right.
The hours that I worked didn't matter. I kind of got the impression it was going to be even like 30 hours a
Right.
week or something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
And you could do some of it from home.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the more we talked, so I didn't investigate it. I
Mm-hmm.
investigated it
Yes.
pretty heavily,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and we spent a lot of time in prayer about it.
Yes, we did.
And then we should talk about when we talk to the kids about
I
it.
was just going to say, I think one of the big deciding factors for us was we talked to our children about it
Hmm.
because you had been home for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years at that time, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And
Hmm.
that we talked to them about, hey, opportunity has come before us, and we'd like to get your opinion. Kind of explained everything to the
Yeah.
kids, what it would mean, all that kind of thing. We had a couple of our kids who were like, well, sounds like maybe I don't have a huge opinion on it. Maybe
Yeah.
that'd be a good idea. I'm fine with that. We had a couple others that were like, oh, I don't think so. I don't really want you to do that. But we had one that tears started rolling down the cheeks.
She was so quiet during that whole conversation around the
Yeah.
table. And
Mm-hmm. And you specifically said to her, well, what do you think? And
Yeah.
she just very tearfully said, I don't want you to do it.
yeah.
And I think that kind of sealed the decision
Oh,
for
yeah.
us at that moment.
Yeah.
We were leaning that way anyway, but we thought,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. In a
that sealed
heartbeat,
it.
that changed everything,
Mhm.
because then we start thinking about, why do we start the business in the first place? And talking about,
When we look at the family mission statement, leading children and others to Christ by being a good example. I think that you lead your children to Christ when you spend time with them, right?
yes.
Growing closer to God as individuals and each other.
Mhm.
And that's a huge thing that we wanted. And frankly, I'll just say that now that we have 4 of our children have launched out of the house, our children are all not only close to us, but close to each other.
Right.
And that is a thrill to see. And I think
Mhm.
that has been heavily influenced by all the time that we spent together as a family in their growing up years.
Yeah. And I don't think that I could really calculate this, but it's just hundreds of hours, I would say, I was able to spend with the
Oh,
kids. Um,
it's got to be thousands.
maybe
It's
thousands.
got to be thousands.
And almost like if I just said just the one-on-one time that I have with
Yeah.
the kids, I think it would be in the hundreds of hours, because I didn't take that
For
job
each
offer.
child.
For each child.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes. And so hopefully that was a good influence. I think evidence out there, even on research studies and such, shows that the amount of time, especially that a father spends with kids in a one-on-one fashion, is just super valuable. I don't know how else to say that in words, but yeah, I think looking back, that was absolutely the correct decision based upon our family mission statement, based upon our goals, what we're trying to accomplish in life. And I would say, without a doubt, whenever we're not old yet, whenever we are old,
not even close.
Whenever we are old and we're looking back in our life, we're not going to have one single regret about that decision.
Not
for
at
sure.
all. Not at all. Okay, so 4 opportunities.
Mhm.
1 yes,
Mhm.
1 no, 1 not right now,
Mhm.
and 1 probably no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, as we've said, sometimes the answer is not yet,
Mhm. Yeah.
because circumstances change and things
Sure.
can happen. And so,
Yeah.
without that filter of our
Mhm.
family mission statement, as we were thinking through these 4 things, we were like, we probably would have said yes to
Yeah.
all 4 of them. Because who wouldn't want to help a friend? And why wouldn't you go on to a podcast where they want Christians? And what would have happened
Yeah.
if we would have gone on that podcast kind of ignorant of what the actual purpose was? We could have been frustrated, possibly potentially embarrassed, potentially brought embarrassment to Christ. We never
Right.
want to do that.
Right.
So that was
Mhm.
such a good thing that we said no to. If we had done the, take the front of the airport,
Mhm.
you're away from the business, not building it the way you need to, away from the family.
And let's be honest, that it's not just a 45-minute trip to the airport.
Oh no, it's not.
It's at least
half
a day.
That's
and
right. Right.
You lose all your momentum on the day. And again, as entrepreneurs, you get that.
Yeah.
Where most people think, boy, you're just being rude by not spending that short amount of time.
Exactly. And so, and in every case that we said no or not now, we were very respectful. We
Yes.
didn't, we didn't
Mhm.
burn bridges. We didn't,
No.
act as if we were offended,
Or better than.
Yeah, that's a better thing. Much better thing. But we confidently made these decisions based on the filter of our family mission statement.
Right. And so then just kind of taking this to the next level, and some of these things, AI wasn't available back when we were making some of these decisions, but just recently, we've been
You brought up AI, and we haven't even talked about that.
We
at all,
haven't.
but it's a thing these days, and I'm starting to have fun with it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Let's all settle into, we're talking about AI now.
And I would also just throw out here, and that we should probably have an entire episode about this, because there's a ton of dangers with AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's wow. Like when we talk about the internet, we talk about good and bad.
Right.
AI just kind of takes things to an
Exponentially.
exponential level with that. And so we understand that, and we, like, some people are like, oh, AI, I'm afraid of it. And we totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a amazing upside to it as well. And just one example here is exactly what we're talking about, to using it as a filter system
Mm-hmm.
for your big decisions, your little decisions, your ideas that come up, things like that. And so what I did was I just went into the free Chat GPT, and I took our family mission statement and I said, hey Chat, here's our family mission statement. And so it kind of did an analysis of that. Okay, great, this is clearly, it's just fun to see the feedback with it.
Right.
And then also, I gave it some prompts about what our goals are and who we are. And honestly, again, this is where it gets a little bit scary, but it learns about you, and it starts to do things. You can ask it to do things in your voice. I suppose literally, but also just kind of figuratively, like, how would you respond to this opportunity? How should I respond to this opportunity in light of my family mission statement, in light of the goals of where we are in our life and with our business? Would this opportunity be something that we should do? And it was amazing, the results that I got when I put these 4 things through there. Now, I will say that, and there was another one that I didn't really want to bring up publicly, another opportunity that had come up, because it would just be too personal. I don't want to offend anybody or whatever. But I ran that one through Chat as well. And at the beginning, it said, it's kind of, most of the time it kind of says maybe. It'll say, if this, if that. It really helps you to think through those specific criteria. And I really appreciate that, because it caused me to think more deeply about some things.
And you're not handing the decision over to Chat.
No.
You're just
That's a great point.
Chat to help me filter, like, what are, and because Chat is very mathematical, so it will bring in like every data point around that.
Yes.
And including things that you might not think about. Correct. And it will point those out. And so it's very helpful that way.
Yeah, it is a tool.
Yes.
And only a tool.
Yes.
But then, so it gave me, again, on this one that we didn't talk about here today, it gave me kind of these if this and if that scenarios, then it would be acceptable to do it. And then I clarified, and I gave, I think that's really crucial when you're using AI, is to clarify and say, here's a further layer to it. And then after I did that, it came in and said, the answer is no, you should not do this, and here's why. And then it said something about, like, would you like me to craft a tasteful email, declining this opportunity? And I was like, okay, that would actually, I didn't need it in this particular situation, but I thought that could be helpful also. And so this is a new thing. I mean, it's a new opportunity. It's a new tool that we can use, because admittedly, sometimes the family mission statement, we want to do something so much that we can kind of manipulate the family mission statement one way or the other. And it's kind of nice to have this, this tool that's available.
And it's just kind of analytical. It's just kind of, it's nice to have that. But again, we don't turn over our decision making to Chat. No. We just say, hey, what's your input? And we take that into consideration as well. So what about you? Do you have a family mission statement in place? I hope you do. If you don't, go back and listen to episode 31, where we taught you how to do it, and do it. Make sure it happens. Honestly, that family mission statement will help you a ton. Do you think, would it be helpful to help you filter out good ideas and find the best ideas? In our case, it absolutely has. And we find so many families. We were just talking with a couple the other day who have a family mission statement, and they talked about how handy that has been for them to be able to filter ideas and to filter opportunities through that family mission statement. And it has really helped them. And so I hope that you get it from what we have said. We want you to have a family mission statement. It can be one of the best tools in your arsenal to help you direct your life and help you align your life with the plan that God has for you. And so we want you to do that. If you are struggling in any way with figuring that out, reach out to us. We want to help. Absolutely.
Yes, and we'll have all kinds of information on how you can reach out to us, how you can follow us on socials, and all that in the show notes. So just take a look down there, and if you email us, we will see it. We answer all of our own emails personally, and we would just love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we encourage you then to take the information that you learned here on building your own filter system and go build your dream business.
Side by side. See ya.
Take care.